What is going on with Cradle of Filth? It's been a very turbulent week for Dani Filth & Co, with both Zoe Marie, Federoff and Marek, Ashok, Šmerda departing in dramatic fashion. So in this video, we're going to take a look at everything that's happened so far and what it could mean for the band moving forward. Okay, so if you missed this, Cradle of Filth keyboardist and backup singer Zoe Marie Federoff and guitarist Ashok have announced they are departing Cradle of Filth. As well as being members of Cradle of Filth, or now former members, the two are actually a couple and have released separate statements on their reasonings for leaving the band. It started on August 24th when Zoe released this statement on Instagram. It is with deep regret that I share for personal reasons that I am unable to continue this tour and continue in general with Cradle of Filth. Please respect my privacy and my family's privacy. I will answer no further questions. Be kind to my successor. I wish her and my now former bandmates well. At least, like Roy Khan said over a decade ago, God was there after all. Yours, Zoe. Cradle of Filth responded to this statement saying, "A strange turn of events have manifested out here on tour for Cradle of Filth in South America. Our keyboardist and backing singer Zoe has chosen to leave the band mid-tour effective immediately. We, of course, wish her all the best for the future, and we as a band will continue onward and upward, as always, with the replacement singer here in Kelsey Peters, one of the very talented Cradle members. In life, one cannot always foresee what the future holds for us, but we will remain ever professional and continue on with the screaming of the America's concerts for our fans without allowing any of this to sully our onward trajectory. So, our South and Central American brethren, we will see you at the next spat of relentless shows. The shows have already been incredible in Brazil, and we are just so exponentially appreciative of your massive and passionate attendance, my friends and fiends alike." Then, seemingly out of nowhere, this was followed by a statement from guitarist Ashok, who posted this on his Instagram on August 26th. "I ask you to please respect my wife and myself in this transitional period. I am indeed leaving Cradle of Filth at the end of this current tour, and the reasons behind this are conclusions my wife and I came together at long before this week. We simply do not feel like Cradle can provide for our future, and in fact, hinders it. Among other reasons, it is a lot of work for relatively low pay. The stress is quite high, and we haven't felt for a while like this band is actually prioritizing or caring about members. It has been years of unprofessional behavior from people above us that led to our decision. I have also asked all compositions of mine to be removed from upcoming releases, including the Ed Sheeran collab. This song feels like foolish clown antics for me at this point anyways. First, it was a charity single for kids, then a for-profit single, then on the next album, and now who knows, and I just do not want to be involved anymore. No disrespect to Ed Sheeran." And meanwhile, so many brilliant internet brains trying to speculate on personal affairs between me and Zoe. Just stop this, please. We are trying to start a new chapter. And I'm going to finish this tour strong for the fans and for my friends in this band and crew. It is my last ride with Cradle, and I am proud to give it my best. I am sad to not share the stage with my wife these last times, but I respect why she left, and I am happy our friend Kelsey Peters has been given the opportunity to shine. This is all I have to say for now. Leave my wife alone, never insult her or her choices in my presence, or else. So at this point, it seems that Ashok was going to continue on with the tour whilst his wife left, and then after that tour, he would be out of the band. But then Cradle of Filth put out this statement. "It is with a grave heart that Cradle of Filth officially announced the firing of Marek, Ashok, Šmerda from the band, effective immediately. Despite all attempts to illegally defame and derail the band, Cradle of Filth will not cancel any of our South American shows, though fans will have to bear with us being a band with only one guitarist live. That is, of course, until Ashok's temporary replacement is flown out to join the tour in a few days' time. Thank you for your understanding in this horrible matter. We are all in a state of shock over proceedings and will share our side to these unfortunate events in due course. Please respect our decision to part with Ashok now rather than at the end of the tour, and avoid speculation as more clarity on the situation will be provided. The rest of the band are cool, even if taken aback, and accusations toward management, who work very closely with me and the band, are completely unjust and unfounded. Patience is a virtue, and the truth will always out. Thank you again, fellow filthlings, and we look forward to the rest of the screaming of the Americas tour here in Uruguay and beyond. Your friend, Dani. So at this stage, fans were thinking, okay, 2 members out of Cradle, they're going to carry on the tour and then get replacements in, and that's that. But now there's been another statement from Zoe, further clarifying the reasonings why she left the band. A further statement on the departure of myself and Ashok from Cradle of Filth, and a warning to our successors. Read the contract. We planned this transition out of Cradle of Filth months ago. Management is dishonest, manipulative, and tries to take money that belongs to us with no contract between us session musicians and him. When I called them out on this attempted theft of album advance money from Screaming of the Valkyries, they called me cancer and dead horse and threatened to fire me. The frontman does nothing to stop them and hides behind them while they belittle and steal. We hold the frontman responsible for hiring this management and never advocating for his team, only himself. Other ex-members try to tiptoe around this and only blame management. Management works for the frontman. He might not get his hands dirty, but in the end, he directs them. The atmosphere he creates is threatening and abusive and constantly exploits us for very low wages, yet also demands exclusivity to Cradle's schedule. We do not even make the bare cost of living, yet we are told not to tour with other bands to supplement income. It is madness to keep people locked in poverty for the ego of one person. We attached the contract they attempted to trap all session members in for a 25% raise, the first raise in 7 years. Our lawyer called it the most psychopathic contract a session musician could ever be handed. We did not sign and made a decision to leave this year instead. So we left because we were being used and pay less than the cost of living. The environment is toxic and threatening, and the toll this was taking on our lives and our marriage grew too great. The health toll it took on us also led me to miscarry our first pregnancy on tour. We chose to leave to save ourselves and create a better future for our family. Now that we are out, the sun is shining, our family has hope, and we hope every session musician who thinks about joining Cradle reads this contract and talks to a lawyer. Good luck to whoever tries to make it work next. And remember, we all knew the guy who says all his exes are crazy. Are you sure all of them? Or could the problem be you 40 plus people later? Farewell to the fans and our fellow session members and crew. They were the only part of this that remains good memories. As a small addition to this statement, Zoe added this on her Facebook page. This is our final account of what's happened and why. We make £150 a day currently and 25k a year roughly in this band, to clarify the math. The pictures of the contracts that were shared on Instagram show that they were offered £200 a day for live performances, £150 a day for traveling days, $25 per day per diem, essentially money for food each day, and also £1,000 a year for image and video rights. I've linked to all of the statements, including the one with the contract, if you would like to read them in full and find out more. But wow, I mean, there's so much to unpack here. It's actually hard to know where to begin. But first off, how will this affect Cradle moving forward? In the main, I think they're going to be okay, because it's no secret that Cradle of Filth is very much Dani's band. A lot of bands have this setup now where there's one, maybe two principal members, and the rest are hired session musicians in to supplement the band. So with that kind of setup, I do expect them to bounce back pretty quickly, certainly when it comes to live touring. But there might now be issues surrounding the release of the long-awaited Ed Sheeran collaboration, which has been in works for about 3 years now. I actually spoke to Dani earlier in the year, back in March, about it, and this is what he had to say back then about how it was going. And of course, you are the king of collabs. Bring me Ed Sheeran. Who's next?
Well, we haven't released the Ed Sheeran yet.
I know, you're probably sick of talking about it, even though it's not out yet, right?
That's the thing. We've now moved into a period where we've got a blast radius around our album, because obviously you don't want to overshadow that. And he's about to make some moves, so there's a blast radius around what he's doing. It's going to come out. It's a timeless song. It does exactly what it says on the tin. It's Ed Sheeran, and it's Cradle of Filth. It's got a blast beat. Ed really goes for it, but he also plays acoustic guitar and does a bit of his crooning. So yeah, it'll see the light of day.
So they may have to go back to the studio and record some parts. It certainly throws a bit of a spanner in the works on that release. But I have to say, I thought Dani was on great form for that chat. It was one of my favorites of this year, and whilst it was just one interview, there wasn't really a sense of any issues with the band, and overall they seemed to be in a really great place, and they were just releasing a great album in Screaming at the Valkyries, so it's a shame and sad to see how all of this has unfolded. One thing I think that could come out of this is more discussion on payment rates in the music industry. For context, the minimum wage in the UK for those aged over 21 is now just under £24,000 a year. So if Zoe is on £25,000 a year, she's only making about 1k more, and you're going to be having a lot more expenses on the road, and there's also just the general stress and strain of being a touring artist. Aside from the love of the music, the incentive just isn't there when you can stay at home, get a minimum wage job, and effectively earn the same as you would being a touring artist. The financials of the music industry have been a long-standing issue since the transition from physical media to downloads and now streaming. It would require a whole video on its own, but clearly for many bands and musicians, it's just not working. From my own perspective and experience, we also, as a company in Primordial Radio, had to dramatically scale back our events because we simply couldn't keep up with the costs of putting them on. And actually doing so, or trying to do so, was putting the business in jeopardy. So I'm sure there'll be more to this story as more details come out in due course, as Cradle of Filth stated, but as I said, I have put links to the statements in the description of this video. But clearly change is needed within this industry, but what that change is and how it's supposed to be delivered, that's not yet clear. For more from Primordial Radio, simply hit the subscribe button or listen to our radio station 24/7 at primordialradio.com.
Primordial Radio.